The warmest of greetings to you, and welcome to Happily Ever Teaching. This is the podcast to help you enthrall your learners in a knowledge-rich curriculum using the best teaching method known to science, storytelling. To do this, we feature special guest educators who are passionately keen to empower your children. I am storyteller Chip Cahoon, and with me today is...
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm a teacher in a small primary school in Northamptonshire at the moment. I teach year 1 and 2.
And I'm Nicola, and I'm teaching in a school in Southampton. I've been involved in primary education for 28 years, and I've also taught at university, hopefully inspiring another generation of teachers as well.
And today we are exploring what art and music we can create, with an incredible story created by a pupil from the year 3 and 4 class of Kern Engane Primary School. You can listen to the story by downloading our sister podcast, Fables and Fairy Tales, or search our website, epictales.co.uk, for Bright, Brave But Broken. There you'll find a video of me telling the story that you can share with your children. And if you're an Epic educator as of January 2023, you'll also get the story as a special edition paperback, brightly illustrated by Coelho, a special large print edition that's perfect for shared reading and including 16 written lesson plans based on the discussion we're about to have. Don't worry if you missed that though, as you can also order the book from any bookshop, including Amazon, and educator members of our Epic Book Club can access the ebook and lesson plans through the Epic Tales app. In fact, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank everyone who's signed up to our book club so far, because by doing so, you're also supporting this podcast, so we can keep sharing these off-the-shelf lesson ideas every single week. Right now, though, let's continue our discussion with Helen, Nicola, Billy, and GZ. We really need to bring GZ in a little bit more because he's such a central role in the story, isn't he? But we finished last week starting to dip our toes in possible artistic ideas for using the story. So let's see how we get on with that with ages 4 to 7, Helen, shall we? What was the art that you would like your ages 4 to 7 to create?
Well, as with many of my ideas around this story, it's all to do with birds.
All to do. Sorry, Gazelle.
Sorry,
GZ.
I know. I don't know why. Birds, I don't know. I just thought we'd have a bird themed couple of weeks.
GZ is so awesome. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't need anything made to flatter him.
Exactly. And the first thought I had was around printing, using feathers. So part of the art curriculum is printing, learning how to print, using a variety of different objects and materials. I thought this would be a bit of a different one, printing with feathers. If you can find feathers around and about, that would be a great way to get the children involved in finding the means by which to do their printing. If not, you can get packets of feathers in craft shops. I thought it would be great for the children to have a go at printing with the feathers and see what patterns they can make. In the early years, just exploring, just letting the children explore. Because if they do this, what could they create with this? What happens if they use these colours and those colours? And then in Key Stage 1, looking a bit more formally at how printing works, creating patterns, what happens if we overlay the different colours when we print. And then once children have had a go at exploring, I thought they could create a piece of artwork, a bird, maybe a billy, using printing with the feathers and getting them to use colours, yellow, but creating shades of darker yellowy orange and mixing those shades together in the prints to create a piece of billy artwork.
And if we did want to bring Gazelle into this, when you said printing, I thought you could also maybe take a gazelle hoof, because they are the cloven kind of animal, I think. Yes. I think I'm right with that. Yeah. So I don't know, whether you can maybe get your
potato printing
that you may use for printing. That's right. Yeah. And make them into a hoof shape. And you could maybe combine the ideas then, couldn't you? Use gazelle's hooves to do the printing with the feathers. Yeah. I don't know whether that could work, but that would be something both the friends could try together, and your children could help them to do that.
I think that would work really well. And there's a bit of a science link there to do with the prints, animal features in the prints they make, and you could have could have another potato with a bird print on.
And when you've got the prints, you could actually print them onto like a bag, which children could then either sell or raise money for a charity linked to birds, potentially. So you can kind of go one step further, because you're helping the environment by printing on a bag and people using bags.
Yes.
And you're in effect helping birds as well.
The one that comes straight to mind is Diabetes UK, because the hummingbird is their logo. Okay. I think it's because I remember speaking to someone from the charity once who said the hummingbird is the only creature that doesn't have insulin. I think that was it, or something about the perfect balance that is required between, how much insulin you've got and how much food you've taken. The hummingbird represented that in some way.
Yep, that's what I thought as well.
And of course, you've also got the RSPB. That's going to be quite an easy connection with birds to make. So yeah, that's a lovely idea.
I did have one other little idea, and all it was a bit of observational art in science. When I was talking about children learning the features of different birds and what they look like, I thought you could take the opportunity to do some really nice observational artwork. So print out some lovely big pictures of the different birds and get children to paint using, watercolours or finger painting or anything you want to do to create some bird artwork, because there's, lovely birds, thinking of the UK, lovely little garden birds, which they're just beautiful and we don't often get to look at them close up. So to be able to get children to look at some big images of the birds and their features and do whatever you feel like, I say what you feel like, whatever's on your arts curriculum, whatever medium you want to use, I thought it'd be great to do that. And I like the idea of using maybe some finger painting. Again, it links in with the printing. You can use body parts, so you do some finger painting to create some birds, or use some watercolours, or coloured pencils. Just looking really closely at the details.
Fingerprinting is very good for feathers, isn't it? Because the fingerprints do kind of give you the veiny style that you get from feathers.
Yeah. You can't see this, those people listening, but my brother and his partner are really into feeding their birds, and I'm going to quickly just show you a video. They take slow motion videos of a robin coming, taking food from their hands, and every time I go to their house, they're feeding the birds.
Lovely.
If there's a way of, like you said, Helen, getting some pictures, or the children themselves taking pictures, if you've got a bird table outside your classroom, taking some photographs. And something we do a lot more now with the older age range, it sort of links more to secondary school as well, is using sketchbooks. So we look at artwork already from previous artists, and then we observe what media they've used or what techniques they've used to create that in our sketchbooks. And then the children themselves create a piece of art sort of inspired by other people. So having a video like I showed you, or having photographs, but looking at observations of other artists, there's lots of amazing artwork. Even if you just Google famous bird art, get incredible images, and then using that to inspire them to create their own painting or sketch. So kind of linked to the sort of media you were talking about, Helen. And then I had this idea of collage, and the idea of, I kind of want to link it to the PSHE as well, having our main character, Billy, in the middle with bright yellow feathers coming out, and having sort of some of the images from the story around him, or if you wanted to as a whole class, showing a very big collage of the whole story, every child taking a different aspect. I remember it was my first year of teaching, I had the whole of the wall at the back of my classroom. It was a year 3 class, so age 7 and 8, and every child did a part of it. It was almost like a journey of a story that we did, and we spent weeks on it, but it became something I never ever wanted to take down, because it was absolutely beautiful, and it became every child did like a brick sort of section of the collage. And I think that could work really well here as well, and using different materials, so like we talked about shiny materials before, absolutely different materials to represent the story. I say it could be the story, or it could be that every child has Billy and then uses PSHE ideas of like dreaming of things they want to do in the future, and ambition and so on, within the idea of a collage as well. So it could be personal for them. Billy could be in the middle, and their ideas for their future career as a star footballer, or as an amazing friend, we've talked about that as well, could be within that collage as well. So I think collage would bring it alive.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh, some really beautiful ideas there for visual arts to be created. But Helen, for ages 4 to 7, you also had some musical ideas for them to create, didn't you?
Yes. So I don't really know classical music at all, but there's a piece that I really like called The Lark Ascending by Vaughan Williams. It's all about lark ascending up higher and higher, and got this violin playing up the highest registers, and it's just a beautiful piece of music. So I thought you could just do some work with your class around that piece of music, so you could have children just listening to it. Something that's lovely for children to do with any age range is just listen to music. And what I like to do is give them a piece of paper and get them just to draw as they listen to the music. And sometimes I might give them an idea first about what the music's supposed to be about, but sometimes I might not. And just get them to listen to the music and respond, or they could respond through dance. How does the music make them feel? What images does it put into their heads? And then the main instrument is a violin, which is a good opportunity to look at the family of stringed instruments with your class and watch some YouTube videos of someone playing the lark ascending, because children, when they watch, they actually see people playing instruments, they're fascinated. It's mesmerizing. I find it too as well. Watching someone play an instrument well, they're just so clever.
They make it look so easy as well.
They make it look so easy. So use some YouTube videos to look at stringed instruments, watch the piece of music being played, and this, as I mentioned, the piece of music goes very, very high. So then you can talk about pitch and do some games around pitch, and introduce children to some tuned instruments. Not really violin, I wouldn't suggest, unless they know how to play it. It's but maybe a xylophone, and get the children in small groups to create some piece of music using the higher end of the scale.
Fantastic. That's all we have time for in this episode, folks. If you'd like to talk to us about anything you've heard in this podcast, or if there's a subject you're soon to teach that you'd like us to cover, you can find us on social media using @TeachHappily, or leave us a review using your favourite podcast app. Please also share this podcast with your colleagues and help us start a story-led revolution in classrooms around the world, so children everywhere can enjoy knowledge-rich learning in a way that's effective, memorable and enjoyable all at the same time. Just a reminder that you can also get these lesson ideas as written lesson plans in the special educator edition of Bright, Brave but Broken by finding it on Amazon, or have new collections of stories and lesson plans from all across the curriculum sent to you every single month by joining the Epic Book Club. Check our show notes for details or visit epictales.co.uk. Tomorrow, Billy and GC will help us teach geography. But right now, it only remains for us to say cheerio, and we hope to hear your story soon. So, cheerio!
And we hope to hear your story soon.